So in the last tutorial, what we did is using just these 3 lines of code, which are probably the most difficult to understand, especially for new programmers, out of all the entire code. We use this to actually rotate the top part of our tank. So if I press play here, you can see here that it rotates around, and those 3 lines of code are all that there are. Alright, so let's take a look at programming the actual movement. Now, it's important to note here that we have a couple things here. We have a max forward speed. This is what we're going to use to actually move our tank forward. Then we have a max backward speed. Okay, so as we go through our code here, we're going to create another if statement just below this one. And this is going to be pretty easy to understand. And this is going to be how we actually move our, underneath this if statement, we're going to create another if statement. And through a series of if statements, that's how we're going to actually control the back and forth movement of our, and our sort of our rotation. So we're actually going to move our tank. So if input dot get key get key. We're going to do a key code here. Dot W. So this is our W on our keyboard. We're going to say target speed equals. I'm just going to copy max forward speed here. Alright, I'm going to copy this again. And I'm just going to say if we press S now. Now mind you, if you're not sure which S it is, just press S and you'll see it's the capital S. And as you probably already guessed, I'm going to select max backward speed here. Okay. So this moves us forward and this moves us back, and I'm going to enter else here. And I'm just going to say target speed equals 0. And that means if we're not pressing the keys down, we set it back to 0. Okay, if you highlight target speed here, okay, so we have when you press W, we assign target speed forward, back, but we haven't actually done anything with target speed. So if we press play right now, it's not going to do anything. So let's go on and let's work on our rotation speed. Alright, so I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to change this to a capital A. And then I'm going to copy this again. Change this to a capital D. And I'm going to make this an else if. And I'm going to delete this. Now, remember earlier we have a target speed. And that's up top. Right here. So I'm going to copy rot speed for rotation speed. Here. And so let's go ahead and just kind of comment this. Moves our tank front to back. Rotates our tank. And so I'm going to say transform dot rotate and you can see here that it has a vector 3. If you remember from before, the vector 3 is 3 parameters. So that's the X, Y, and Z. Okay, so I'm going to paste this down here. We have rotation speed set to 0 at this point, but we also have, let's see, here's our rotation speed. By not assigning a value, you make it null, or it'll auto assign it to 0. So you can see here's rot speed, right? Okay, so what we're going to say is, because A is to the left, and when we're rotating to the left, we're looking for a negative value. I'm just going to type in rot speed here. Now, if I just do this, it's just going to be negative 0. So what we want to do is multiply it by time dot delta time. Now, okay, so the reason I'm doing this is because it's going to give us an even time distribution, so it'll rotate left and right, left being A and right being D, evenly if we multiply it by time dot delta time. So you can imagine it's 0. And when you're looking at angles, what you're actually kind of thinking about is the multiplication sort of counts as an addition. And so I started recording the video tutorial series on rotations so you can understand that a bit better. And so once that's done, I'll upload that onto the site. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Same thing. We haven't actually done anything. We've just created a series of if statements. We actually need to add a line of code now. And it's actually going to rotate this and move this guy around. All right, let's start by calculating current speed, which is this guy right here. So this is going to be used to determine the current speed of how fast our character is, or our tank is going. So I'm just going to say current speed equals, and I'm going to do a calculation, a math calculation based on all these different values. I'm going to use something called a lerp. Now what lerp does is it'll take a series of values and it'll keep them between 0 and 1. So the reason I'm doing that is if we look at Unity here, when we let me go ahead and create a game object here. Alright, so we have a cube, and I'm just going to reset its position. Alright, so here it is at 0. If I move it to the left, that gives us a value of up to -1. I mean, you can go higher depending on where it's at. I'm going to try to contain this value between 0 and 1, and the reason why that is key presses. So if I hold A down, it's the way Unity reads it is the amount of pressure, the maximum amount of pressure when I press A down, that means I'm holding it down all the way, is 1. When I'm releasing it, it goes to 0. Okay? If I press D, which is the opposite direction, if I press it all the way down, it's going to go all the way to -1. And when I release it, it goes to 0. So I need to calculate current speed between 0 and 1. And that's what a lerp allows it to do. Okay? You can highlight it and then go to Help and go to Unity API Reference. And once you click on that, it'll you can bring up the documentation. It'll show you how to, it'll go into full detail on how to calculate 0 to 1 based on key presses. So a lerp takes in 3 parameters. Okay, and they're all 3 are floats. So current speed is a float. Target speed is another float. And then the third one, we're just going to do 7.0f for now. You could always adjust this later. Times time.delta time. Alright, so now that we have this value, that gives us a between 0 and 1, right? And we've already got target speed and all this other stuff being calculated above. We're going to actually enter the line of code that's actually going to move our tank. And that's just transform.translate. So we're saying we want to move our tank. Let's make sure this is capital. We're going to do vector3 dot forward times time dot delta time times current speed. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the code. just for the function. Hopefully this isn't too small. This is that last bit of code that we typed up, and you can kind of pause it and double check it here. Also, you can pause it here and kind of look at the code to double check that you have all of the code that sort of moves it forward. All right, so let's go ahead and, here, let me do a quick zoom out. See if it works. So here's all of it from this if statement all the way down. And if we jump into Unity, I'm going to press play here. You can see I can rotate, I can move forward and back. My top part is moving. Alright, so we're going to take a look at writing a script to control our bullet. So let's go ahead and save this out, and we'll look at that in the next video.